Good afternoon, British Business Podcasts viewers and listeners out there. We're filming today from the Excel here in London. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Ed Winfield from Content Guru. What is Content Guru, Ed?
So we do customer contact and technology solutions to join customers and citizens with organizations and brands, basically. So
Okay.
if you've called an organization up, or you've emailed an organization, or done a web chat with an organization, we do the technology that facilitates that with brands and organizations.
How long's Content Guru been running?
We've actually been going since 2005, so we're the longest running cloud contact center platform in the world. We've got customers that are 16 years old, so we've got some of the very first customers anywhere in the world to be consuming this kind of technology in a cloud way, 3 years before the word was actually even coined.
Because my wife watches some of these podcasts, can you just explain the cloud part? What does that mean?
Great question, and I'm glad she's asked me to explain this. So, in the olden days, people would buy something, a piece of technology, a physical box. They would put it in their office or their data center. They would then plumb it in with electricity and phones and wires, and that would be their owned asset that they would consume the service with, fixed in its nature. Cloud means that instead of that being in your basement and in your office, you use the internet or use network connectivity, and it exists as a much bigger platform somewhere else. So you're leveraging this much bigger shared use platform. So it brings with it economies of scale, power, features, but it means you're not owning the asset. It's an OpEx model.
And that started out, the cloud really became used by businesses when?
So we joke in our business that we started a cloud business in 2005, but it's probably not till 2012, 2014 where it's really getting adoption. And in the last 2 or 3 years, you're seeing this huge acceleration to it. So it's a very recent thing. Globally, we've probably got 25% uptake from these on-premise solutions. So we've still got the massive transformations to go. But it's definitely of the time. Everybody is moving to digital transformation, and they don't want things in their basement.
What's the biggest problem that you're solving? And is it, and I must ask this first, your customer base, is it big businesses? Is it small to medium-sized enterprises? Is it sole traders? Is it everybody?
It is everybody. The main business problem you're solving is we as consumers and citizens and individuals, our world is whatever's in our hand, wherever we are, whatever platform we are interfacing with. We expect that experience with organizations that service us and take our money, or organizations that support us as citizens. And we want to transfer that omni-channel experience into the way that we interact with organizations and brands. And that's what we do. We open up the shop window for all of the different channels to come into an organization and be monitored. So we as consumers can use social media to interact with a brand. We can use a web chat. We can use WhatsApp. We can use Instagram. We can use a Trustpilot even as a way of communicating with an organization.
Wow. It seems very techy. Is that what you would describe?
No, I think if we transfer into us as individuals, if you take your smartphone out of your pocket, you look at what you interface with and spend your most time on, all we're doing is allowing those shop windows to communicate with organizations. So we're basically multiplying, because it's a multiplicity world. So it's consumed over the internet. You don't need to be technical to consume
it was a stupid question, because now I realize actually it's relative. And what I mean by that is if we go back to maybe 2000 and looked forward to 2023 and look at people using phones,
we wouldn't recognize it.
We'd think they are nerds and tech nerds.
Yeah.
Whereas it's just easy now. We've grown up with it. Is that right?
Yeah, and it is absolutely right. The thing that's really changed, two things have really changed it and accelerated it. The reason the business was started was this thing called the internet, which when we started the business was not a massive thing. You fast forward, and everything is hinged on the internet. And in fact, organizations use the internet as their main corporate way of communicating on all things. So yes, our lives have generally got more electronic. They've generally got more device-centric, and they've got more platform-centric. We're talking on a platform now, even. So yeah, there's loads of things, but technology has really accelerated that move, and smartphones and the internet are the two key things that have really driven that, along with social media.
So you're a worldwide business?
Yes, we are. We've operate in the US, in California, and Washington. We've got offices in Europe, in both the Netherlands and Munich in Germany. And we've got offices in Tokyo. We've got offices in Singapore. We're basically a global business, and that's really part of the accelerated journey that we've had over the last 5 or 6 years.
What do you do?
I'm a director of global partnerships, so my role is to go and find other organizations who can distribute and sell our services to other corporations and organizations in other countries. So people like system integrators, people like CX customer experience consultancies. So they're going and trying to solve business problems, and they'll put our technology in as part of that solution to those problems. But my job is to find those people, find the right partners, because that's really important. People that you trust, people that understand how you do it, and people that know how to deploy it to their customers and create value for themselves and their customers, as well as obviously consuming our technology.
Sounds incredibly difficult to spot or find new customers. How do you go about that?
So on the channel side of it, and we're very particular, because I think it's not a reselling environment. You don't just take our stuff, mark it up and pass it on, and that's your job done. You have to live with the clients through the deployment of a digital transformation. So for us, we're looking for people with the intellectual horsepower to take our platform and to deliver it to their clients and create that value. Our channel partners have to create their own value with professional services. But the most important thing is the customer at the end of it has to receive the value and realize that value, because that's what they're buying. And it's getting that right blend of people, intellectual horsepower, technology, and customers. And if you get that right, then you've got a really powerful route to market.
Typically, in a given year, how many new customers would you bring online? Is this like a very small number, or is it thousands?
No, it would. In terms of end users, as in people sat in front of our technology, it will be thousands. In terms of organizations, it's going to be 10, 20, 30, 40 globally. So you've got big organizations with thousands of employees sat at the end of technology that you provide. So
your sales process, from highlighting or targeting even to sale, is that a long journey?
Depends on the organization. We've done, you and I were talking about lockdown before the podcast. In lockdown, some of the projects we were asked to do were huge in scale. In traditional time frame, they'd have taken 2 years to execute.
Wow.
But number 11 Downing Street is giving you 13 days. So we're talking things like government's test and trace program. We're talking like upwards of 10,000 people needing to be put on your technology and to be done in a fortnight's time period. Now, if you did that in normal times, that would be a 2-year transformational program. But the pressure of the environment meant we've all got to move quickly, and that's what we pride ourselves in: move quickly, deliver value quickly, and mobilize effectively.
And so, did you do that?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we did. Organizations had no choice. They had to shut their doors. They couldn't function in the same way. They couldn't operate in the same way. So that forced people to rip the rule book up and say, right, we've got to take decisions quickly, and we've got to mobilize. And if you can work with the right partnerships to do that, then we can deliver on the back of it.
Wow. So the pandemic, when you look back now, because a lot of people are starting to say to me, stop mentioning the pandemic. And although I want to move forward, because it's always about looking forward. Actually, it was a unique time, as we all know. Sounds like you're saying that actually it impacted you in a good way.
It's obviously a bad thing, generally, because we'd rather not have a pandemic. If I take the positives out of it, we've got some, and I don't want to talk about COVID as well, I'm like you.
Sure.
There's some long-lasting good permanency post-COVID.
Okay.
The first thing is, every single one of us was forced to interact with organizations in a different way.
Yes.
That stayed. 50% of all interactions with organizations are digital, and 50% are traditional in-person or talking to people.
And that's why, sorry to interrupt, that's why the businesses that had digitalized themselves before the pandemic were much better at being able to transform their businesses over that period, isn't it?
Undoubtedly.
And my guess is you were actually well placed for that.
We were able to, more importantly, act at scale with speed, with a great solution. Organizations that had to close their doors with that thing in their basement, like I talked about earlier, you're not trading.
No.
So please, can you help us trade? And we had another organization in finance where they had an 800 person outfit. They had to close their doors. They couldn't function.
Wow.
So we had to get them up and running in a 10-day period for an 800
like an ambulance
person.
service, really.
Exactly. But I think the good thing is that digital adoption has rocketed. Has that meant that people have stopped interacting personally? No, workload has increased. So the pressure on organizations to interact both digitally and traditionally, the digital bit is mostly on top of what they're already doing. So the need to make sure you can address that is absolutely paramount.
Wow. I'm absolutely blown away, because most people in business have got their plans, they execute their plans, 1 year, 5 year, 10-year plans, all that sort of stuff. Sounds like in that time, everything was thrown up in the air and you just said, well, let's just deal with it. What's it look like for the future?
Well, I think our CEO, Sean Taylor, he and I have discussed this many times. We reckon that actually, as a result of everyone realising you could do things quickly, that your traditional investment cycle has probably been pulled forward by 2 years, because everyone got caught napping. From pre-COVID to now.
From what number of years to 2 years?
Yeah, so, been brought forward by 2 years. So what you'd have considered now and taking 2 years, they're saying, no, we need to look at this right now.
Really?
Because actually COVID caught us napping. I never want to be in that situation again.
Wow.
We've got the economic backdrop, which, again, organizations that are going to need to do far more work with far less resources, that's also an investment trigger to say, well, you need to get with the times for these efficient ways of getting through this workload, using things like AI, intelligent automation. You can't hire more people. You don't want to get rid of your people, but you want to get through more work. So automation, things like ChatGPT are a classic example of ways of getting through work that don't involve hiring hundreds more people. So I think there is an accelerated adoption of the technology that we provide.
Wow. How do people get hold of you if they hear what you're saying today and they're interested in working with your business? How are they getting contact with you?
They can, by all means, get in contact with us on our website, www.contentguru.com. They can interact with us. CG Chirp is our Twitter handle. But all the details are on our website. If you just type in Content Guru, our website will come up and you can look at the info page and we'll be happy to interact with you immediately.
You're on LinkedIn?
I am on LinkedIn. Edward Winfield, You'll see my, it's not as handsome as your avatar, but it's a picture with me and my glasses on in black and white. Bit arty, but you can contact me on LinkedIn as well.
Is there anything that I've not covered that you'd wanted to get out there that you think is a real message, that you think that, whether it's a summary, whether it's a recap, or something that we haven't talked about, or have we covered pretty much everything you wanted to cover?
Yeah, I think one last thing I would like to say is, people in business still see technology as a cost. Actually, if you see technology as an enabler, actually it's a fraction of other things that you spend on. So actually spending a little bit more on some of the customer engagement practice to deliver great outcomes for customers means that you keep customers, you attract new ones, and your growth is going to be better, and you can get through more workloads. It's about efficiency and growth. So don't always look at the price of things, look at the value of things.
What a message to finish off with. Ed, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you very much.